everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Dual Destinies. We are on the first day of the trial for Turnabout Reclaim, aka the DLC case. I guess that's about it. Well, don't be surprised about what Phoenix Wright is wearing in this, because I decided, why not? Let's go with some costume stuff, right? It's kind of unfortunate, though, that we don't get the the hobo outfit from Apollo Justice, though. I don't know why that's not in this one. Should be, though.
Good morning, Mr. Wright.
Good morning. Chipper as ever this morning, I see.
I'm just thankful we actually get to have a trial for Orla. As a matter of fact, I just ran a few laps around the courthouse to get extra pumped.
And I just splashed my face with some water to get the sleep out of my eyes.
Oh, I also queued the Swashbuckler videos so we can watch it at any time.
Thanks. It just might help our case. By the way, you have some serious dark circles. Did you stay up late watching this?
What? Me? No, I just woke up early, that's all.
Guess I need to cover them up.
I get ragged on enough as it is by Prosecutor Blackwell.
Speaking of being pumped, I'm pretty fired up for this trial too. It's been a while.
That explains why your hair is spikier than usual. I mean, look at it! It's all super pokey and prickly and stuff! It's amazing!
That was a compliment, right?
Good luck, Mr. Nick. I'll be cheering you on from the gallery.
Thanks, Pearls. It's been so long, I'm actually a little nervous. Good morning, Mr. Lawyer.
Oh, Mr. Rhymes! You came to watch the trial?
Yeah, Sasha's back at the aquarium with the orca. So I thought I'd better come here to watch for her.
Well, don't you worry, we're gonna win for Orla. Is that right, boss?
Right. One unprecedented trial coming right up. As if that's anything new. Court is now in session for the trial of Aura Shipley. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Are you sure with that outfit? Must we waste words on this? Prosecutor Simon Blackwell. Known as the Twisted Samurai, he's a prosecutor who is also a convicted felon. They say he never conducts a trial without his loyal Hawk Taka by his side. Mr. Wright, it's been quite a while since I've seen you like that. Yeah! The lawyer image suits you. You look younger somehow. Thank you, Your Honor. And you look as young as ever yourself. Well, I have to keep up with you folks after all. By the way, has the defendant arrived in court yet? Surely you jest, your baldness. Did you not receive the memo? The defendant, Aura Shipley, is an orca at Shipshape Aquarium. An orca?! Arrangements for this trial were made only yesterday, so I didn't have time to review. But an orca as a defendant? It's patently absurd! Direct your comments to the defense. He's the absurd fellow who insisted on defending the orca in court in the first place. Absurd or not, I will carry out my duty to defend my client. Your duty to defend your crying aunt? Don't you mean your crying orca, Mr. Wright? If we are to proceed, we must treat the orca as we would any other defendant. Every soul, be it of man or beast, is of equal value. The question is whether that soul is painted in black or white. Take Taka for example. He is as human in spirit as you or I. The real question is, am I in for more pain? As always? Orca or not, I suppose a defendant is still a defendant, and I vow to render my verdict fairly and impartially. Now then, Prosecutor Blackwell, your opening statement, please, if you would. I suppose I can hardly leave it to someone who knew nothing of the defendant. Very well, listen carefully. The orca murdered this owner of Ship Aquarium in the aquarium's orca pool. The orca apparently toyed with the victim mercilessly as he died. A sadistic orca? What a chilling thought. And where exactly is this defendant now? Inside this. A cell phone, Miss Prosecutor Blackwell. Time marches on, your baldness, with or without us. I borrowed this TV phone from the aquarium, which will allow us to interact with the orca. A TV phone? Very well, the court accepts it into evidence. We will be able to view the defendant in question on this large monitor. Fulbright, prepare for transmission. Ha ha ha! You've got it, Prosecutor Blackwell! We will proceed with the defendant on telecast. So that is the orca that stands accused, is it? Aw, she's waving her flipper at us. Maybe she's cheering us on?
Orla! Wish Venus and Athena luck!
Oh, it's quite cute, isn't it? And this adorable creature suspected of killing a man?
Orla's really pouring on the charm, huh?
She is far from cute. She is a violent, reckless animal. That's right! The name's Bobby Fulbright, and I'll take the explaining from here. Now, if I could direct your attention to this diagram of the crime scene. Following the report of an orca attack, we, the police, raced on over to the Ship Aquarium. There, we found a guest who says she saw the orca and the victim from the visitor's corridor. As the witness was watching, the orca suddenly went crazy and attacked the victim. The orca was the only one there, therefore no one else could have committed the crime. It's quite finished. It's not quite finished, but I have a portion of the autopsy report here. I think I said that wrong. I'm very sorry. Oh well, every time I'm talking with Fulbright, something is always wrong. I can't imagine the terror of being attacked underwater by such a large creature. But attacked it did. Prepare yourself for the grisly details, your baldness. The prosecution moves to introduce our witness, Fulbright. You got it, Prosecutor Blackwell! In justice we trust! One brave lady whose fine sense of justice compelled her to speak. Coming right up!
How dare you make me wait? Do you know I'm a busy woman? I could have written an entire book for all the time I spent in that lobby.
Prosecutor Blackwell?
Well? I am Norma de Plume, and I am a non-fiction writer.
Am I the only one who isn't telepathic here?
Looks like she can read into people's words just as well as I can read into people's hearts.
Not everything needs to be a competition, Athena. What? Norma de Plume! The great non-fiction writer, Miss Norma de Plume herself! I've read all of your works and enjoyed them immensely. Your Million Celia, The Great Grief of the Great Thief, is one of my favorites. I'm wondering if that's a reference to the Yatagarasu! You know, from Investigations. Oh, are you a fan, Your Honor?
Are you a fan, Your Honor? I could give you my autograph if you'd like.
Wait a second. I could swear you look much different than photos in your book.
Well, I use ones from 10 years ago in my book so that the paparazzi won't harass me.
Oh!
The judge seems so shocked.
The visual disconnect must really be doing a number on His Honor's head.
Could we get started, please? If I find you to be lacking as a judge, you will see your debut in my books.
Such harsh comments. You really must be the real Norma de Plume.
Who knew Miss de Plume was so famous?
Enough jabbering. Tell the court what you saw and keep it brief.
I would thank you to not order me around. I am perfectly willing to tell everyone what I witnessed. It was the moment of the murder.
Very well then. Please proceed with your testimony.
I went to Ship Aquarium to see the killer whale. As I was watching the killer whale from the visitor's corridor, it suddenly went crazy. I saw the killer whale bite the victim to death with its huge mouth and deadly teeth. Attempting to remain calm, I reported the incident to the police immediately.
That adorable defendant really did all that. It must be much more vicious than it looks.
Now, deliver your judgment so I may carry out the sentence.
Objection!
The defense would like to do some defending first, if that's alright.
Must you drag this out with your tomfoolery?
Hold it!
The defense always has a right to cross-examine the witness, you know. A fellow inmate told me just this morning. If you want something signed, all you need is a document and a witness.
Let me guess. They were convicted for contract fraud, right?
All we need in this case is the evidence and a witness to convict. It's as simple as that.
Looks like I guessed right. Sorry, but as Miss Sykes said, the defense has every right to cross-examine. Is that correct, Your Honor?
This is really hard for me to do with that outfit.
Yes, of course. You may proceed with your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
I shall relish the sight of you thrashing around in vain.
Well, okay, this is pretty easy enough. We present the autopsy report where she talks about the whale biting the victim to death. Yeah. That can't be right.
Objection!
It would seem that you are mistaken, Mr. Plume.
I beg your pardon?
The autopsy report does indeed say death thought to be the result of orca attack, but the actual cause of death is contusion from head trauma, not being bitten.
What? But I'm sure the victim was bitten.
I don't believe that can be true. The security footage doesn't show anything of that kind.
Objection!
Just as I suspected. I knew you would peek at the footage behind Fulbright's back.
Well, what did you expect when he wouldn't play nice and share?
But unfortunately for you, the footage you saw was only one small part.
Huh?
Yesterday, after I decided to take this case to trial, I re-reviewed all of the evidence. Taka, the evidence I gave you for safekeeping.
Taka. Guess that hawk is higher up on the pecking order than Fulbright in Blackwell's book. Very well, let's view the footage. What's this? The orca is biting the victim!
No way!
I have to say that this appears to be very damning evidence.
No! I can't believe Orla really bit him!
And there's more. Look at this. This photo was taken while the body was being examined. There seems to be a strange bruise on the victim's right wrist. I'll have the crime lab examine the bruise and calculate its relevance to the case at hand. What's important right now is evidence that points to the orca as the killer. Look at the left side of the body. See the orca's tooth marks in the victim's clothes. Yes, they do appear to suggest that she did, in fact, bite the victim. Oh, what is with my talking today? Flip-flopping everywhere with these words.
I told you so! And then the killer whale swam up toward the surface with the victim in his mouth.
Objection!
However, in the autopsy report, the cause of death is contusion from head trauma.
Objection!
You are much too impetuous. Right, Dono. Granted, the orca biting the victim was not the cause of death. The witness was mistaken about that.
Then what explanation is there for what the witness saw?
Did I not say in the beginning, the orca toyed with the victim mercilessly?
My goodness!
After killing the victim, the defendant swam around with his dead body in her mouth. Just like any other predator toying with its prey.
Rubber, 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 rubber.
Mr. Wright! The hearts of the people in the gallery are suddenly filled with fear! Fear of Orla!
So the defendant bit the victim after she had killed him. But if that's the case, then we must still figure out how the defendant killed the victim. Prosecutor Blackwell, do you have a sound theory to give to this court? I wouldn't be standing here if I couldn't prove whether the orca's heart was black or white.
But Orla is black and white. Her body, I mean.
Athena, please try not to provoke Prosecutor Blackwell. This witness also preserved the actual moment of the murder. Think back, word mistress. Think back to what you'd observed before the orca bit the victim.
Ah, I see what you're driving at.
So that was the true moment of the murder, was it? Now explain it in a way that even these simpletons can understand.
There you go again, ordering me around. Stop that this instant. But whatever. I don't mind telling my story. I saw the killer whale before it toyed with the body as well. I saw it the moment it killed the victim by headbutting him.
Orla killed the victim by headbutting him?
That's right. It rammed the victim over and over again.
Recall that the autopsy report stated that there were bruises all over his body. Recall as well how persistent the defendant can be when she's attacking her prey.
And we all just saw the killer whale headbutting the victim in the footage, don't forget.
That footage backs up Mr. Plume's testimony, but there's also something very important it does not show.
Now do you see what a menace this killer whale is?
Objection!
No! I'm sorry, but I can't allow your testimony to stand unchallenged. Looking at this footage, the orca certainly seems to be headbutting something. But you'll note that something is not the victim.
Oh! What?
I want to look away, but I can't. Even if it was the victim, you couldn't have seen him from where you were, could you?
What? Oh, well, I suppose not.
Mr. Plume, did you actually witness the victim getting headbutted by the defendant?
Let's see. Oh, I remember now. As I recall, a rock in the shape of a skull was obstructing my view.
So you are admitting that you couldn't see the victim?
Yes, I suppose I am. However, immediately after the headbutting, the victim came floating up. He came from behind the skull-shaped rock, and his body was all limp. What else could I think except that the killer whale was headbutting the victim?
Objection!
But if you didn't actually see the moment of the attack itself, then it's pure conjecture.
Objection!
Must I do everything around here? How dare you speak so rudely of me?
There's no need for hysterics. Clear your mind and recall how you reached your conclusion. Though you couldn't see what the orca was attacking, you didn't need to, did you? Because you knew she was behaving exactly as she had only 1 year prior.
Oh!
1 year ago?
That's right! Yes, that's it! That's how I knew the killer whale was headbutting the victim.
I'm sorry, but could someone explain exactly what's happened a year ago? If you must know, a similar incident occurred only last year, in which the defendant murdered her trainer. What? The orca murdered her trainer, you say? What? Is this really true? This is not looking good for us. It's all in this book. That book, The Killer Whale. That's Mr. Plume's latest work. I was just thinking of picking that up. Last year, the defendant killed her trainer in the middle of a show. The orca headbutted and bit the victim. The same thing she's accused of in this case.
The orca killed 2 people?
That thing is a menace! Guilty! Guilty, I said! I never want to go to the beach again!
No, everyone's even more convinced that Orla did it.
We were doing so well, but now everyone in the room has a bad impression of Orla. I don't want to think she did it. But it's hard to keep on believing in somebody who can't even tell me her side. Oh no, Orla!
Phoenix! Athena! You gotta believe in Orla! There's no way she killed anybody! You gotta save her! Please, I'm begging you!
Sasha, what am I doing, doubting my client like this? This is the time to be strong.
I believe in Orla, and I'm ready to fight for our client. I'll take everybody in this courtroom on if I'll take everybody in this courtroom on if I have to.
Don't you worry, Sasha. We won't give up on Orla. We'll defend her to the very end.
Thank you! Thank you, both of you!
We are Orla's lawyers. Who else but us can save her? We can't give up on her now. For an instant there, you were afraid of the orca, weren't you, right, Dono? When you saw the photograph of the victim from a year ago, you turned paler than me. He saw right through me. It's obvious you have neither the guts nor the determination to defend the orca. It's true that Orla can't speak, and I don't know her thoughts. But there's a certain someone who believes in Orla with all her heart. I respect the trust she has in Orla, so I'm willing to believe in Orla too. And what do you know about orcas? Nothing, that's what. So allow me to fill you in. Do you have any idea why orcas are also called killer whales? Because they are cunning and merciless predators that hunt and kill even true whales. So, killer whales really are killers! What terrifying creatures indeed! I can't bear to hear any more of such rubbish as trusting a killer, can you, your baldness? Well, gee, I don't know. I mean, Mr. Edgeworth sure trusts you. No matter what you say, I will continue to believe. I don't give up that easily, you know. Dullard, you don't know when to give up, do you? Very well, I shall give you a chance to prove just how determined you are. Witness, spare no quarter and lay the full truth on them. Oh, ho ho! But of course, that is what I do after all. Prosecutor Blackwell, what will you have the witness testify about? I shall have her testify about what she saw and what she heard. What she heard? Very well, Mr. Plume, please tell the court what you saw and what you heard. Boo-boo. The killer whale's behavior was exactly the same as a year ago. As I approached the pool, the killer whale suddenly started singing. I was calm when I saw it start to headbutt. But when the pirate hat and victim came floating up, I let out a scream! So the orca displayed the same behavior as during the incident a year ago. That's right. Those weren't just simple cries, it was singing. As I approached the pool, the killer whale suddenly started singing. It kept headbutting while it sang the swashbuckler spectacular song. That's right. It was singing the same song it sang in the aquarium stage show back then. It was singing while it was headbutting. Oh, it was perfectly horrible. How many times do you have to say that she was singing? We got it. I don't see a single obvious inconsistency in this testimony. It's clear I won't be able to take apart her statements with evidence alone.
Mr. Wright, now would be a good time for me to put my skills to work. It's time to show what analytical psychology can really do.
You seem pretty confident. Let me guess. You noticed a contradiction between her testimony and her emotions.
You bet I did. And once we expose it, we might be able to crack her. No, scratch that. Make it, we'll definitely be able to.
Then let's give your knowledge of analytical psychology a try.
You got it, boss. A complete analysis of Miss De Plume's heart coming right up.
Please don't make this into a tutorial. The killer whale's behavior was exactly the same as a year ago. As I approached the pool, the killer whale suddenly started singing.
I was calm when I saw it start head-to-head butt. But when the pirate hat and the victim came floating up, I let out a scream.
Oh no. You were calm, were you? Well then why are you extremely upset here?
Got it.
Mr. Plume, Orla really frightened you with her headbutting, didn't she?
Don't be absurd. I was certainly not frightened by the likes of any killer whale. It must have been something else that scared her then, boss. However, I do remember being very afraid for some reason while I was doing that. It sounds like maybe you saw something we haven't discussed yet. Take your time and try to remember what it was. What did you see?
This is practically turning into a counseling session.
I saw something. Oh, I remember now. Okay, good. Now if you could please tell the court what you saw. I saw bright red blood. The killer whale's ramming caused the victims to bleed. There was a great cloud of blood.
What?
Yes, that's it. That's why I was so sure. That's when I knew the killer whale had killed a person for a second time.
Well, that was a very compelling statement indeed. Looking at this again, there does appear to be something that could be a cloud of blood. So her terror was a reaction to blood, was it? That would certainly explain what happened yesterday. Please take a look at this blood-stained coin.
Hey! Cease and desist at once! What kind of man shows a lady blood?
She doesn't have to get so worked up.
I was badly injured during an interview once. Ever since then, I've been terrified of blood. The very sight of it dreadfully upsets my delicate sensibilities.
This is bad. This is a bad turn. If Mrs. Bloom saw blood, then does that mean Orla really did attack the victim? It would appear that orcas are even more vicious than I am. So, how does it feel to be thoroughly rammed by your own cross-examination, right, Dono?
What do we do now, boss?
That testimony was not at all what I expected to hear.
Wait a minute. There's still some discord left in Mr. Plume's heart.
What? You mean there's more?
Yes, but there's no telling what it is. It could do something even more damaging.
Ugh. Is there even anything left of our case to damage? Well, whatever it is, we have to face it head on. Athena, you believe in Orla, right? If so, there's no reason for us to shy away from the truth.
Yeah, you're right.
I know we can handle the truth, whatever it is, so let's delve a little deeper.
You've got it, boss!
After it started headbutting, I saw the awful blood and was terrified. But when the pirate-hatted victim came floating up, I let out a scream. Again with the sad thing.
Got it.
Huh? Her fear appears to lessen here at this statement. Mr. Plume, weren't you afraid when you saw the victims with blood coming out of him?
My, that's a very good question. I was shaken after witnessing a murder, yes, but then the blood seemed to disappear.
Disappear? And why do you suppose that was?
Simple. It was because of the pirate hat. After the killer whale had put the hat on, the cloud of blood disappeared.
Objection!
What? And how exactly does that work? How should I know? I'm just telling you what I remember, Blue Boy. Wait a minute. From whom was this blood that Mr. Plume saw actually coming from? Orla.
Take that.
Consider this. Maybe the one who was bleeding wasn't the victim.
I beg your pardon? What kind of ridiculous nonsense is that? There was no one else in the pool besides the victim.
Oh, I wouldn't say there was no one else. It is an orca pool, after all.
What? Then where is this alleged injury on the defendant?
I'm not sure, but if simply wearing the pirate hat made the blood disappear, then the blood must have been coming from somewhere on Orla's head. What? The Orca's head? What are you prattling on about now?
Please think about it again, Mr. Plume. Think back to what you really saw.
That is... The one who was bleeding was not the victim, but the killer whale? I remember now! There wasn't any blood coming from the victim after all!
Bye-bye! We did it! Analytical psychology got us what we needed from her!
That was a huge help, Athena. It was also pretty dicey for a while, though. Well, this is a surprise. The blood the victim saw was the defendant, not the victim's. That is correct, and since there was no blood coming from the victim, there's only one thing we can conclude. That what Mr. Plume witnessed was not the moment of the murder, as she claims.
Objection!
I thought you were unarmed, but it turns out you were concealing a sword all along. And we're going to stop right here and figure out, what is Blackwell objecting in the next video. And I'll see you guys then.